In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make ChatGPT your own customer support agent, either for your own business or for the company you work at. Now, because we want to maximize the automation as well as the precision of the answers ChatGPT will send out to our prospects or customers, I will show you 3 different ways you can choose from. Each of the way is suited for a different need, and you will for sure find the option that is the best case for you. Keep in mind that this video is showing you how you can do this in Gmail, but you simply can implement it in any other provider like HubSpot, Outlook, or even Zendesk. If you're interested in tech and AI and how to automate tasks, subscribe down below because I post every single week. Alright, let's get started. The first thing is that we are going to send out a test email so we can see how ChatGPT is actually responding to this. Now, I wrote a quick email. I would like to know what exactly Pop-Ups Line could do for our business. We're looking for collecting leads on our website as well as becoming an eco-friendly business. What pricing options do you offer? Very simple email. We are imagining here that the subject line is maybe from a contact form that we have on our website. I'm going to send this. Alright, and we have successfully received the email. Now, there are 2 things we are going to set up. We are going to set up a trigger. We are also going to set up multiple actions. Here, we are firstly going to start with Gmail. In this first example, we are going to use new email matching search. You can see a short description. Triggers when you receive a new email that matches a search string you provide. We are going to click on this one and we are going to hit continue. Here you have to connect your Gmail account. You can either do it directly here. I have already done that. We can press continue here. And now we are going to set up when this trigger should hit. We could simply just type contact us form because that is the search string that can be found in our subject line. But as they are recommending us down below here, we are going to be a little bit more specific. So firstly, we are going to start where it's located. We are going to write in inbox. Then we are going to write subject contact us form. This is going to make sure that this is not going to be triggered on emails in all folders, including sent emails, because we simply just want to respond to emails that are coming with this subject line. We are going to continue. And right now we can actually test this trigger, whether it's going to successfully find the email. We're going to test the trigger. And we actually found the emails. We can see here that the body is exactly what we wrote. So that is great and we can continue. Now we are going to set up the action. So here we are going to search for ChatGPT. Here, firstly, we choose the event. We are going to choose conversation. We are going to continue. And here I have already connected ChatGPT to my Zapier account. I do have a whole video how you can connect ChatGPT and OpenAI directly with Zapier. I'm going to link that video down below. So we are going to hit continue. Alright, so in the first box, user message, that is basically where you write your prompt. Here, I'm not going to read all these things, but basically what I do here is that I firstly set up a context for ChatGPT. So here you might ask, okay, how does ChatGPT actually know how to answer our customers or potential prospects? But what you can do is that you can actually train ChatGPT and tell it as much information as possible that it's going to then remember it and use that information to answer all the questions that our leads or prospects have. So here in the first one, I would recommend you to say context. I describe the business in the first half, and then in the second half, I also describe how our pricing works. Now, the second thing I would recommend you is to include structure variable. Here you can say that you don't want any quotation marks in your answer. ChatGPT sometimes put quotation marks in its answer when it's generated in Zapier. So you can simply just write, don't include any quotation marks in the answer. I also would recommend you to write something like, don't write any text before or after the email response. Sometimes what it does is that it's actually writing, sure, here is your answer to this email. And then you obviously don't want to send out that thing to a potential customer. So this is how you can actually take it out. There is other option how you can do this. You can use a format app that Zapier directly has here. But this, I find that it fixes it and it's a quick solution. And then obviously your main prompt should be that you want to respond to a certain email. So here what you can do is that you can actually put variables directly inside your prompt. So you are going to write respond to, and then you are going to use the body plain variable here. If you hover over it, you can see exactly what it includes. So that's a quick tip for you how you can double check. We are going to click on it and then add it here. I would also recommend you to put brackets. It makes ChatGPT understand the task a little bit better. Also here in the first sentence, I'm describing that you are a helpful customer service agent named Joe working at Pop-Upsland. I found that if you give it a name, it's actually going to give the name inside of the email as a signature. So that's a quick tip here for you as well. All right, then we have username, assistant name. You can leave this as it is. Then we have assistant instructions. Here, I would recommend you to write, you are a helpful customer support assistant. We are going to use GPT 3.5. I would recommend you to leave temperature and top P on the same level as it is. You can read more directly under each of the variable here. Memory key is actually very good feature. It basically means that if you write anything here, such as you can write a number, or you can write, in our case, it would be email response, for example. If you write anything here, the unique value will allow the assistant to continue a conversation from previous messages. So you can think about memory key as a conversation. And so you are going to be able to let ChatGPT know that you have to stay in this one conversation. You have to remember all the previous chats as well. And then you can actually refer them in the prompt. Or you can also write here, please don't repeat the same answer or something like that. We are going to hit continue. And right now we are just going to actually test if this is going to reply to this specific email. So we are going to test action. It's sending the conversation to ChatGPT. And just like that, we got a green tick. All right, we got our content, which is the prompt that we wrote down. And then we actually also got the answer. So dear Thomas, thank you for your interest in Pop-Upsland. Our app can definitely help your business and so on. You can see that we also have a signature here. Best regards, Joe, Pop-Upsland customer support. This is great. And we now know that it's replying to a specific email. Because we want to make this automated as possible, we are also going to set up our own subject line. So we are going to search for ChatGPT once again. And in this case, again, we're going to choose conversation, continue. We are connected, we can continue. And here again, we are going to set up our prompt. So user message. I'm going to write down, create a subject line for. So this is great thing about Zapier is that you are right now able to refer back to certain things. So in this case, it's our conversation in step 2. And we are going to search for dear Thomas. Thank you for your interest in Pop-Upsland. This is the message that ChatGPT has generated in the first action. So we are going to click on it. Then we have created a subject line for this specific email, but don't include any quotation mark in subject line and don't write any text before or after the subject line. Their name can once again stay the same, assistant name as well. Here I'm going to write again, you are a helpful customer support assistant. We are going to use GPT 3.5. Temperature and top P, I would recommend you to keep it the same. And we don't need any memory key. We are going to continue, and we are right now going to test whether we are able to create a subject line on the email that we have created in the previous step. All right, the test was successful. We have a green tick, and let's scroll down and see, and we got it. All right, last step that we have to do is that we actually have to use this email and this subject line to respond to our prospect. So the last block we are going to use is Gmail. And here in this first example I'm showing you, we are going to say create draft. Here you can also see a description, create but do not send a new email message. We can click on continue. We have connected our Gmail account already. We can continue. And right now, to make it automated as much as possible, we are going to refer to different variables. The first one is our subject line, which is required. Here you can see that we have two conversations in ChatGPT. If you click on one, you are going to be able to kind of have a look at which one this was, if it's the email or the subject. But what I would recommend you to do is to go back right now. And because we know that this one is actually creating our email, we are going to name this email response. And then this one is generating our subject line. So we are going to write subject line. This is just making it more clean. And right now, if we go back to our last step, we can easily identify which ChatGPT action is creating what. Now, if you have multiple ChatGPT actions, it can get messy. So this is a quick tip for you how you can stay organized. In our case, we are in subject, so we can go to subject line. We are going to scroll all the way down and you are going to choose assistant response message. You can hover over it and have a look. Yes, this is our subject line. We can click on it. In this example, we want to set up a draft that is automatically going to have the email address that we can send the email to. So here we actually go to our first trigger. and we are going to use variable from email, right? Because we want to reply to the email that triggered the flow. And have to include CC, BCC. Here from is basically the email that you have connected. The from name, you can leave it empty as well, but in our case, we can also write something like pop-ups land. And in our body, that's actually where we want to use what ChatGPT is generating in this flow. So each time we get an email, we want to use the different email body. And that's why we are again going to use the variable. So here we can go to email response. We can scroll all the way down and go again with assistant response message. You can hover over it and see that this is actually our email that is responding to the inquiry of our potential customer. You can click on this one, and then signature, you can set up signature if you want to. Label mailbox, you don't have to set this up. Attachments, we don't have any. We can hit continue. And right now we are actually going to test this if this works. So what this does is that it should create a draft directly inside Gmail that we can go through, scan through, and then send out automatically if everything is looking fine. So let's test this action. All right, and it looks like the test has been successful. Let's go back to our email, and then if we go to our drafts, we got it here. So if I'm going to click on this draft, I can see the exact email that ChatGPT created for this specific person. We have firstly the email that we are sending this to, which was automatically added by ChatGPT. We also have the subject line that was automatically drafted, created, and added into our email. And then we also have the whole email with a signature. And right now you are good to go to confirm this. Have a look if you want to maybe add something more. And then you can send this directly to the potential prospect. Lastly, you can give your Zap a name. Here it could be ChatGPT customer support. Then you can simply just hit publish. And then it's automatically going to be doing this. If you get an email that has contact us form in the subject line, it's going to then create a response automatically for that specific email, create and draft a subject line, and then it's going to add that directly inside your drafts. So then you can double check them if you want to and send them out. All right, the second way how you can do this is that we are again going to be using Gmail, but we are going to be using a different event here. We are going to be using new labeled email. You can see that the description says triggers when you label an email. We are going to click on this and we are going to continue. We have our Gmail connected. And right now, let me show you what the label actually means. In Gmail, if you go here, you can create your own label. Here, you can give the label a name. In my example, I named it ChatGPT Customer Support. We are going to create this label. And you can see that it has been created over here, right? And right now you remember that we have received this email from our potential customer. Maybe you are not just receiving emails from your customers, but you are also receiving other emails in your mailbox. So let's imagine that in this second scenario, you are having multiple emails being sent to the same email address, including the customer support emails. So maybe you don't want to go necessarily with all the emails that have a subject line contact us form, but you want to specifically choose the emails that are for the customer support to answer. So here what you can do is that you can click on labels and you can label this message as ChatGPT customer support. We are going to do that and hit apply. And when you go back to Zapier, in our trigger, we are going to be basically triggering all the emails that are getting this ChatGPT customer support label. So in other words, all the emails that have this label, ChatGPT should respond to. We are going to press continue and we are actually going to test this. So remember that you have to assign at least one email to this label to test this. We have done that, so it should be okay. Test this trigger. And here we have exactly the snippet of the email and it looks all right. We can now press continue. So right now we have set up the trigger. So every single time you go through your mailbox, you can just simply give the label ChatGPT customer support and then automatically it's going to trigger and start the flow. So then ChatGPT is going to start responding to these emails. In our action, we want to go and firstly create the email. So we go and search for ChatGPT. We are going to go with conversation once again, continue, continue. And here I'm going to simply use the same email structure once again, context, structure, and respond to. Here we have to add our email. So I'm going to add the variable body plain. You can hover over it and see that this is the email that ChatGPT actually should respond to. Once again, I would recommend you to keep this as it is. Here we can just change this to you are a helpful customer support assistant. This is going to redefine the answer a little bit better. We are using GPT 3.5. Temperature, top P, I would recommend you once again to leave it as it is. We don't need memory key in this case. We are going to press continue and we are going to test whether it's going to successfully answer this email. So we are going to test this action. The conversation is being sent to ChatGPT and just like that, it was successful. We got a green tick. Let's scroll down and see whether the email has been answered. Hello, Thomas. Thank you for your interest in pop-ups land. And so once again, we got a full email that answers the question. Here we are again not done. We're going to have to set up our subject line once again. So ChatGPT, event, conversation, continue. We are connected, so we can continue. I'm using once again the same structure here. Create a subject line for, and here you have to find the email that ChatGPT has created. So I'm going to go to our conversation and I'm going to go down and search for assistant response message. So I'm going to click on this. Your helpful customer support assistant. You can also add something like for pop-up slant to make it maybe even more personalized. Model GPT 3.5 once again. No other changes. We can press continue and we are going to test whether the subject line is going to be successfully generated. So we are going to test the action. All right, and it looks like it was successful. So let's just find the subject line. We got it here. So we are not gonna hit publish because the last step is once again to add this email as well as subject line to our draft. So here we are going to use Gmail once again and we are going to choose create draft. We are going to continue. Here in our subject, we should use the one that is specifically creating our subject line. So I'm actually going to once again rename these email body, and this is generating our subject line. If I go back to subject line, I can see which one I should choose. I'm going to scroll all the way down and you want to choose assistant response message. Who do we want to send this to? That's going to be inside your trigger and we are going to find the email address. So here we can choose the variable called from email once again. We can write a name here, pop-up slant for example, and then in our body, we are going to go into email body and we scroll all the way down once again. And we are going to go to assistant response message. And because we are using this variable, every single time a new email is generated, it's going to automatically be added here. Obviously, it's not going to be the same email every single time. It's always going to be the one that has been generated specifically for the trigger email. So this is actually so great about the variables here in Zapier. We can leave this as it is. We are going to continue and we are going to test the action. All right, it looks like we got a draft created in our Gmail. So let's check it out. From here, we can go to our drafts and we got it here. So let's click on this. Let's double check. We have the two email that we set up in ChatGPT. We have the subject line and then we also have the whole email that explains and answers all the questions that the prospect had. We also once again got the signature here. And right now, if we want to, we can just send this over or we can also add something and then send it. Right now, we can just name this once again. Let's say that this one is ChatGPT support label method. And then we are ready to publish this. If you remember, in the first one, we were basically replying to emails that were having a specific subject line. So it was the contact us form. In this case, I showed you how you can label each email and then the flow is automatically going to be triggered. So maybe this technique is good if you are receiving multiple emails in this email address, as well as the subject line is not just contact us form, but it can be any subject line that you want to. All right, and I'm going to right now show you the third way, which is going to be fully automated. So in this case, it's not going to include any drafts. It's not going to include any labeling. It's going to simply reply to each email that comes into your inbox. We are again going to choose Gmail. Here, the event is going to be different. In this case, we are going to choose new email. Triggers when a new email appears in the specified mailbox. We are going to hit this one, continue. Here it's saying if no label is selected, this app will trigger on all emails, including drafts. So we don't want to trigger this flow on drafts because it would just not make sense. So here in this case, we are going to choose inbox. We are going to continue and we can see that the email was found. So our first email that we have in our inbox is the one that we want to reply to. But you can see that we have other emails that were found in our inbox as well. But again, this technique is basically going to reply to every single email that is inside this inbox. So make sure you are using this technique for an email address where you know that you are only receiving customer inquiries. We are going to press continue. And actually, we only have to set up one ChatGPT action. We are going to search for ChatGPT. The event is going to be conversation. We're going to continue. And here we are going to obviously generate the answer to the email. So I just copied the same thing once again. And here we are going to add the variable here, body plane. We keep everything the same, customer support assistant. We are going to continue and we are going to test this action, whether it's going to reply to the email correctly. Let's just scroll down and find the email. Dear Thomas, thank you for reaching out to us at PopUpsLand. All right, it generated the email, so we can continue. Here you can see that with this method, you don't have to generate the subject line. Why? So basically you're just replying to email, and in that case, you don't have to set up any subject line. But what you have to do is that you want to set up an action that is going to reply to every single email. Here we want to click Gmail once again. And the event we are going to use in this case is simply reply to email. Send a reply to an email message. We are going to press continue. We are connected, so continue. And right now we have to fill out 3 different things. The first one is thread. So because we are replying to email and we don't need to generate a subject line, we have to specify a variable that you want to answer the email in the same thread. And in our case, we want to reply to the first email that was triggered. So that was the one in our first step. We are going to click on this one. And here you simply have to search for thread ID. You can find it at the bottom. So let's scroll all the way down and we have it over here, thread ID. And because we are using variable, it's going to be automated. So each time a new email is created, it's going to use a different thread ID to reply to those emails. Here you can set up 2. So in our case, we are going to say from email. And then the last thing you have to do is to actually put your variable of the email that you have generated with ChatGPT. So we can go to our conversation with ChatGPT, scroll all the way down, and we have assistant response message once again. You can also just double check and hover over it right now. It's going to show you the whole email and how it looks like. You can press continue. And right now we are actually going to test this action. It's going to automatically reply to any email that comes into our inbox. So let's test this action, and it was sent. And actually I have just received a notification on my phone that I got a new email. And right now I'm not in the customer support email address, but I'm in my private one that sent the reply to. And just like that, we got it. So I'm going to just double check, and yep, it looks all right. So this is the email, as you remember, that we wrote, and then ChatGPT automatically replied to us. You can also again go here and rename this to, for example, ChatGPT customer support inbox. Then you can simply just go and publish this. All right, if you enjoyed this video or if you learned anything new, please give this video a thumbs up. If you are interested in ChatGPT, tech, automation, and other Zapier videos, definitely subscribe down below because I post every single week. Thank you so much and have a great day.